Hey everyone, thanks for joining. Hopefully you can all hear me there. So I'm Julian, the Partner Success Manager here at Buildxact. We've also got Stephanie Campanella from Tradies Get Online on the call. You should be able to see now. I think she's just unmuting herself. And yeah, you should be able to see her now in the video. So guys, today, as you saw from the invitation, we've run a few of these webinars. We really wanted to focus on the marketing side at the moment. So it's an area where builders maybe don't spend as much time, or it gets a bit neglected. So we've brought in Steph, who's an expert in this field. So she's going to be talking a lot about what you can do with your websites, your socials, how to use AdWords and various other things as well. And the idea there is to get leads into your business. And then from there, we're going to be talking about, once you've got those leads in, what you can do inside Buildxact to convert those leads. Because it's all well and good getting all those leads in the door, but if you haven't got a system or a process to close those, then that's where you're going to struggle a little bit. So we're going to go through Buildxact a little bit after Steph's gone through her bits and pieces. And it's all about improving your branding, improving your communication to your client, setting yourself apart from the competition, and ultimately helping you close more deals. Now, just some housekeeping for those that haven't come along to one of our webinars, haven't used Zoom before. There's a little chat section which you should see in your Zoom toolbar. You might need to click more to see it. Feel free at any point in time just to post any messages into the chat there. The only thing I would say is just make sure you hit the drop down and change it from all panelists and attendees, just so everyone can see and you can keep track of the answers as they're coming. We normally have a Q&A section at the very end, but during the presentations, feel free to post them in. It just means that you're not going to forget them later on. And normally we spend about 10-15 minutes or so to go through those. If it runs over, it runs over. We've got a bit of time there. So yeah, don't be too concerned if we're running short of time and you haven't asked your question yet. Feel free just to post it in. We'll get through all of them. Steph's just posted in there as well, so you guys should have had a little notification pop up. So if anyone does have any issues using Zoom or anything, or if you've got any problems hearing us, just post a message in and we'll get to that. So I'm going to throw to Steph, and she's going to go through her presentation. As I said again, we're going to hop back into Buildxact after and just kind of give you a run through there. So I'll just stop sharing my screen so it allows Steph to share hers.
Cool.
There we go.
Cool beans. All right. Can you see my slides? They're bright orange.
I can, yeah. So hopefully everyone else can.
All right. And you can hear me okay?
Yep.
Even better. All right, sweet. Well, let's get cracking because we've got a lot of content to go through. So first things first, you're in the right place today. If you've got a website, but you're not really sure what to do with it, or you're about to purchase a website and you want a bit of a checklist of things that should be done, this is going to be awesome for you. If you want to create a queue of customers, like Julian spoke about how important it is to make sure that there's a process when a customer comes into your world and you take them through that process, and that's what Buildxact is good at. So I'm going to show you some points of how you can create the queue online, and then Buildxact can go from there. And just, of course, if you actually do good work, you just need good clients. I think we're all good workers. All right. So first things first is a bit of a. I often get clients coming to me and they've told me that they've bought a website and it's a desktop version and it's a mobile version and it's an iPad version. But the truth is that it's all one version. So if your website's not all in one, then we need to fix that. So it should be responsive or mobile friendly is some sort of terms that the industry likes to use. And it should just be seamless going from desktop to mobile. It should resize really nicely, and the images and everything should still look really good. You can sort of see on the left two images, the phone number there, call us, and then there's a 1300 number. That's really clear on the mobile and the iPad. And then as we cruise across to the far right, the call us and the 1300 number is still very prominent and large in there. So just making sure that all your elements are working across all the devices, and it's one thing. You're just managing one tool, one website, okay? When it comes to banners, I always get questions about, what should be on the homepage banner, how many sliders should I have, what content should be on here. I always suggest that we have one core image, because we really want customers to seek you out because you're the best at what you do. So knowing the core thing that you do, and then putting that on the homepage as the sort of central piece. Then what you can do is you can have some sort of tick boxes there, which is a good way to, if people are speed reading, because obviously they haven't got a lot of time. So this is really good to sort of get, dot by dot by dot, all the things that that you do. So that's another really good tip. The call to action there is actually it's a phone number. So on mobile, that would actually click and it would call straight away. So yeah, rather than just a, submit or something like that, it's a really good trick that we like to put in place. Here's another really good example of a banner. Again, this is just one banner, no sliding images, no fluff. So he's got the three, points of his business: fast, friendly, and reliable. And then there's very clear options: finance available for those that are more price savvy, they're price sensitive. And then there's also the make a booking button. So, when you're looking at your website and the first thing that comes up, are you asking for someone's business straight away? Like, are you asking them to make a booking or get in touch and start to go down the process of what it's going to take for me to do my renovation, like my bathroom or my new deck out the back or whatever it might be? So that's another really good example of a homepage banner. Now, as you move down to the website, we should get photos of ourselves. I mean, not only should we be using our photos of ourselves for social media, but we should also be using these inside our website. So I really recommend that once a quarter, you book a photographer and go and get some photos done. Get some photos done of you and the team working on the job that you're currently working on, and embed those into your website, give them to your web developer, and use them on social media as well. So just here, just to note, like the ever so subtle psychology, this gentleman here, Dane, is actually looking at the form. So it's like, from a user's perspective, if you're looking at this website, you go to him, you see that his eyes are pointing to the left again. So then you follow, your eyes darts to him, and then it darts back to the form. And obviously there's a big call me back button. So you fill in that form and you get a call back from these guys. So like, really nice, clean. There's no other options here. Do you need help? Get in touch. Really human content here on the website as well. So that's a good one to sort of look through your own, like, is it really robotic and feeling forced? And did someone write the content for you and they're really stiff? Often, if you just go through and use your language, and you might actually be able to put some much more human content together for yourself. Now, here again, just pointing out that you want really clear calls to actions. So your phone number should be on the top right-hand side of your website at all times, and it should be click to call. So someone should be able to just simply click the button and it'll actually call if they're on their mobile device. So that's an absolute necessity right there. Some other calls to action. So CTAs, calls to action, again, local jargon for these web digital marketers. So I've got here, see if you're the right fit, and then apply for a call. It's funny, web development is actually very similar to construction, because there's an entire process of understanding what you need and then going through the process, seeing if you're the right customer for us, and then moving through the sales process. Same as yourself. A customer might want to do an entire extension, but maybe you're not really doing that sort of stuff. Like, you're just sticking to, decks or pergolas or outdoor rooms or, this kind of thing. So, see if you're the right fit is a good sort of scarcity tactic, because it allows the customer to think, oh, gee, I wonder if I qualify for this business. So just a really good call to action there. The second one I've got there is apply for a call. So again, there's a real clear indication that the customer knows exactly what they're coming in for. There's no trickery here. It's literally apply for a call. That's what you're doing. So if you look at your website and presence and social media, what do you ask for? Like, do you just, are all your sort of next actions submit buttons, or are they actually, would you like to get in touch? What does your dream kitchen look like? And that would, like, you just imagine, a mum of 3 in her home, and she's going through and she wants to redo her kitchen, and she's on 3 different websites looking for 3 different quotes, and your website's the one that really helps her imagine and dream up her beautiful kitchen. So it takes her on a more emotional, customer journey. So just think about all these little things that we want to inject into your website there. Now, another point here is the calls to action. So you should never, ever leave a page without a next option. So just pointing out here on the left, I've got a bit of a wireframe, a bit of a drawing as to what the website will look like first. And then on the right here, we can see it's a bit, sort of zoomed into this element. So at the bottom on the right, you can see all of our plumbing services, and then call now. So there's actually 2 options. So, click here to basically see all the things that we do. A good one for you might be, see all of our previous work, or see all of our previous bathroom renovations. And then someone could click that. I mean, that's what they want. They want to see that you've done this before, and they can trust you and maybe then take action with you. So make it easier for them to realize that you are the best person for the job. So just making a point here that at the bottom of every single web page, you must have a call to action. There must be a next option. Otherwise, you literally leave the person hanging, and then they go and click and go wherever they want to go. So you want to keep control, and you want to continue to push them through to the sales process and get their information. Now, I love contact forms. I hate short ones. I know so often developing online businesses, we always get, oh, can we just have a short form because we just really want it to get filled out. I just want name, email, and the message. But really, a qualified lead is going to fill out whatever you give them. There's a builder that we work with, Steve, and his form for you to get in touch with Steve to see if he's the builder for you is like 20 questions long, but he only gets the most qualified customers. There's things like, have you engaged with a builder yet? Is the job half done? Is it, is it that kind of work? Have you ever renovated before? Like all the things that he knows makes an A-class customer or a D-class customer. So he has built all that thought process into his form. So don't be afraid of having a form that asks all the questions that you want in order to take those next steps and provide a quote, because you've got the power, you're the specialist, and it's up to you to, take the lead, so to speak. You don't want to let the customer lead, you want to lead. Here's another example of a form. So we call this the apply page. So if everything that you do online points to the apply page, then there's only one place where customers all get funneled in, and then they come and contact you. So here we've got, name, email, contact number, property address, and tell us more about your property. So again, this tells just that little bit more. They can write a little bit of a story there in the bottom field. And then they can also give you all that basic information too. So just really think about, what does your contact forms look like? Again, are they really robotic and they just saying first name, last name, phone number, email address, your message? And it's kind of like just the default of whatever your web provider gave you. Maybe definitely in the next quarterly plan, take a look at, okay, what do my contact forms look like? where am I sending everyone? Like if you're spending time in social media, you know, where are you sending people so that they can start to have a conversation with you? Speaking of socials, so the first thing I always do with any website that we get is move the social media buttons down the bottom of the website, because social media is a massive distraction, and we don't want it at the top. The only thing we want at the top is your phone number and your calls to action. If we lose someone on Facebook, or if we go and tell them to like us on Facebook, I mean, who cares? We want you to fill in the form and become a customer. We don't want you to like us on Facebook. If a customer does want to stalk you and look at what you're doing, then they will do that on their own accord. You know, with just some buttons at the bottom here. So you don't have to ask them to like you on Facebook. That's a done strategy, that's for sure. Okay, so some social media tips here too. LinkedIn is the most unused piece of social media or social media platform in this trade construction building industry. There are literally no builders on LinkedIn, but there are hundreds of thousands of corporate people working in and out of LinkedIn every day and connecting with their co-workers. So if you're trying to do that more up-market build, then you really want to be getting on LinkedIn, and you really want to showcase that you're a professional business owner. You know, you're not just a builder covered in cement and sand and you got a trail hanging out of your back pocket, your King G's. You want to make sure that you look professional and you attract those kind of customers, if that's the kind of customer that you want. So LinkedIn, I mean, we can put some URLs up here a little bit later if we like, Julian. But if you Google LinkedIn, you add your profile photo, you add your name, you add all your little details and your business company and everything, and then off you go. And the next step there is to really start connecting with people that you've already worked with, or companies that you're buying materials from, and you can start to build your network that way. So you'll find it quite easily to get to 100 connections pretty quickly. And then you want to start connecting with, you know, say for example, if your customers were in the finance industry and they're working in the city, you know, in the CBD, then you want to start connecting with people in, you know, in high management and C-suite sort of stuff, and then start growing that connection. So some really good tips there for LinkedIn. For Instagram, so I mean, Instagram is the #1 social media platform, I believe, for trades right now. This is a bit of a cheat sheet, so what it should look like. So the biggest point here that I want to sort of, you know, relay is on the left there says call to action. So often I see builders with their Instagram, and they've got their name, you know, bluebuild.com.au or something, but they just haven't got their URL there. So really important that you have a URL so that they can go to your website, your domain, or I really like DM me for info. So DM means direct message. So you're asking people to talk to you and chat to you on Instagram. There's a whole sales process about, you know, sell, buying, chat, and on LinkedIn, on Instagram, it's very easy to start connecting and chatting with people on Instagram in the messaging section there, and starting to get to know them, and then say, look, well, you know, would you like to maybe discuss what your kitchen should look like? And then you can start, you know, that sales process again. So I won't point out sort of all the bits and pieces there. It's a bit of a cheat sheet, but yeah, you must have a call to action. Make sure that that little section is filled out. Of course, profile picture, make sure that's nice and clean. It should be a brand, not your sort of a personal photo. It should be a brand that you're using Instagram for. Last big social media win here is the Facebook. So just having a Facebook page and then not running any ads is, I mean, you just get nothing from Facebook these days. Where you do get Facebook, you know, sort of value from are groups. So I've just jumped into these top search bar there for North Sydney. I just put in North Sydney and I found North Sydney Living. And this group or community on Facebook, it's a private group, has 11,000 members. And I would imagine that those 11,000 people are living in North Sydney because this group is a place to share information in order to get the most out of living in this beautiful area. So you as a user on Facebook, remember that Facebook is a business tool, not just, you know, personal tool. You know, it's definitely a business tool. Your profile, your personal profile can join this group and you can then start to share, you know, renovation photos. Oh my God, you know, look at this before and after kitchen that we just did here in Lavender Bay, North Sydney. You know, what do you guys think? You could even post, do you like black taps? You know, this black matte tap version, or do you prefer the classic gold or rose gold as it's coming out now? You could do that kind of content inside these groups and people could start to engage and get to know you. And then when they also do explore you online, they go, oh my gosh, I've met these people before. Here they are, like you become familiar. So again, another really good tip for social media if you're going to hustle inside Facebook. This is a great way to waste some time. I like to say wasting time in social media. Big time suck there. Okay, so back on the website stuff and some more tips here. Reviews, like reviews are the lifeblood. It's a great way to get your existing customers to share and recommend their inner circle, basically. So I'm just pointing out here, feedback sells the next customer. So this little Google rating 5.0 star button there, this is a widget. So it's a plugin. I won't use too much jargon, but basically it's a little add-on that you can add to the back of your WordPress website. You can connect your Google My Business page to your website with this little plugin. And then you've got on the right here, you can see all the reviews that you've had. So they're not just handwritten reviews that you've just handwritten on your website, and you know, someone can sort of say, well, are they even real? So these are obviously real. They've come from a person, that's their own profile, and you can click and see all that sort of stuff. But very quickly, I like to use this in two ways. You can basically tell someone when you're finished, hey, make sure you go back to the website and hit the bottom right hand corner and, you know, click Google rating and leave us a review, so you can use it in that way. But also, as someone's cruising through your website, they get reminded that you're a 5-star business. So really important to, like, you know, start chasing reviews as quickly as possible. They're not impossible. They're definitely possible. There's some builders that have got like 300-500 reviews because they simply ask every single customer at every point in time for a review. So it just builds over year on year. So very important to do reviews. And just here again, just showing you sort of, this is what it looks like in Google My Business if someone was then going to leave a review as well. So very cool tool. You must get on Google My Business if you haven't got that review thing yet. So yeah, just Google My Business and it'll come up, and you create an account and add your profile and add your info and, you know, all that kind of stuff again. Just here again, just pointing out that these reviews can be embedded like rich content into your website. So again, I'm showing you like a bit of a drawing, a wireframe, a draft here on the left, and then the actual rich content there on the right. So very quickly, if you've got 3 reviews, it looks like you've got sort of, you know, I don't know, it just kind of brings trust and it brings power to your brand online. Here, so I'm just pointing out again that the call to action, the phone number should be at the very top of the website. And then down here on the right, we can see, tell us about your project. So again, Steve, he's really leading with either his phone number, which Nikki, his wife, answers, or he's asking them to tell us about your project. So then that obviously then clicks to the apply form, which is this massive form that you sort of, so only a qualified customer will walk through that form because it's quite rigid. It's not just a simple click one. So very important that I think you create a barrier there, a positive barrier, I might say. Now, even here, portfolio, the more photos that you've got, the better. So like I said earlier, you should really try and get photos done at least once a quarter of all the work that you're doing, so that you can showcase them on your website, but then you can also use them on social media. You can also use them inside your proposals. Pictures tell the story faster than our words will ever do. So really important to have a really good, rich portfolio of your perfect content that you actually want to keep producing. Once you've got enough photos, really, you want to remove the jobs that aren't your ideal, and you want to keep if you're just going to do kitchen renovations, then you just want to have a portfolio of kitchen renovations, because you want to attract that customer that is just all about that kitchen renovation, and then they feel really satisfied and they trust that you're the right person for them. Okay, if you want to rank, so talking about digital marketing and SEO, if you want to rank for a certain thing in a certain suburb, you cannot just have a website that is home, about, services, and contact. It must have a page of the thing that you do. So on the left here, I've got a page called Office Partitions Melbourne. And so this is a service-based and a location, so service and location. So we're talking about office partitions and why install office partitions. And this, obviously, if someone Googles Office Partitions Melbourne, then this page is the one that's going to get served to that person in Google. On the right here, I've got House and Land Devonport. So again, if you're in Tasmania, in the Devonport area, then our idea is that someone should be, Googling House and Land Devonport, well, how much does it cost, and builder in Devonport, and this page will come up. So your about page is not got as much strength as, say, these location pages. So again, from a checklisting, 90-day plan, the next thing you might want to do with your website is actually look at the locations that you want to do work in, and what service do you want to offer in those locations, and then get some content written. And even start by simply dictating to your phone and just talking out loud and saying, this is what I do, and I'm da-da-da, and then just shoot it over to a copywriter so that they can put it together properly for you, and then boom, it can go up on your website. Now, what I wanted to point here is, I said SEO, which is like a digital marketing jargon little word. So what does it mean? So I've just put Builder New South Wales into Google in the middle screen here. And what's come up is an ad. So on the left there, we can see ad, and then it's got Olympia Group. And then below that is the first URL or first page that Google has served us. So, I mean, there's I've sort of drawn a line there, but AdWords comes first. That's when you you pay per click. I mean, the price can be very different depending on what you're doing. But yeah, so the first thing is AdWords. That's the fastest way to get to the very top. And then, of course, you want really good content, kind of like what we were talking about here. The best content is what wins these positions inside SEO. On the left here, we can also see a map. And again, I've put home renovation builder in the top search bar. And then in the maps, it's given me a couple of builders there that I could search for. That's that Google My Business tool there again. So 3 ways to get into Google here. We've got the ads, we've got a really good website with good content. That's your SEO. And then you've also got there on the left, the maps, the Google My Business tool, a very good tool to use for your business. If you haven't got that set up, don't even start with social media. Start with Google My Business tool. Okay, another example here of more content. So 4-bedroom designs, Devonport. So again, what is a customer looking for when they're searching for you? So they might be looking for 4-bedroom home designs in Devonport. And then if we, of course, offer that content, then Google is going to send that person to our website. Then they're going to realize that we are a home builder in Devonport. Then they're going to realize and see our drawings for 4-bedroom homes. And then they might start talking to us. So really, really important there. All right, I'm just going to go through some quick bonuses, Julian. which the participants can take and use themselves. So first things first is the Google speed test. So if you literally just Google page speed insights, or even use the URL there on the right, drop your domain name into the little analyze field there and see how fast your website is. The faster your website is, the faster it's going to load on a mobile and desktop, and the customer is going to be really happy because they're seeing what they want to see. There's nothing worse than a really slow website. The next test that I'm giving you is the mobile friendly test, just making sure that your website is 100% mobile friendly and Google can serve your website to people on any device that they like. That's really important. Another ranking sort of SEO thing here. The last one I'm giving you here is the Ssl Checker. So sslshopper.com, and you can just check if your website is actually SSL friendly. It's got a little lock and key on it. And again, this is just another thing for Google, because if your website isn't SSL friendly, then Google won't actually show you in the SEO listings there. So really important. These, just 3 really awesome tools that you can take. So page speed insights, I've got the Google mobile friendly test, and then also just an SSL shopper. Just checking that you've got an SSL little item on your website. Last big bonus here is frequently asked questions. This is like, I never see this page on my builders' websites. Really important. How long does it take to build a home? Like how long does it typically take a renovation? Do I need plans before I start? Do I need to go to council, or are you going to council for me? Think about all the questions that your customer thinks about or wants to know in that sales process. If you're the one that is answering all these thoughts for them or providing the responses, then again, this is another rapport building trust element that's going to make you way much more heavier than, say, the 2 other quotes that are currently on this customer's desk. So again, FAQs, frequently asked questions, something super simple. Every time you take a call, any questions that you're getting, write them down, and then just add them to the FAQs page as you go. So yeah, really awesome. So I've got a bit of a wrap up. It's never price. I believe that it's never price that is the negotiating factor. It's all back in your process. Like with the Buildxact tools, making sure that everything's super professional and quick and fast, getting over to them, and the communication is there. Then I think that that's what outweighs someone that's price, price shopping, so to speak. How many opportunities are you leaving on the table? Like, is your website just not communicating back and forth? Is it not providing a bit of a ongoing communication, engaging there? So think about, your website and what is it actually engaging? Yeah. Last piece there is now where to. Julian, do you want to? I'm going to stop my screen share here and flick it back to yourself, because if you want to sort of take over here.
Yeah, awesome. So we just had a question come through, which might be good to cover off before I jump in. Someone asked, what is SSL?
SSL, Secure Socket Layer. So it's so that your website is secure online. It was brought in more for the sort of e-commerce website, so that if someone was putting their credit card into your website, that you actually have a secure encryption going on in your website. But of course, that then made a rollout across all websites. And Google, I think it was 3 years ago, Google kind of made a rule that if you didn't have an SSL on your website, then we were not going to show it inside the search results. So using that SSL shopper website just to see, do I even have a SSL on my website? Really important ranking factor there. So I hope that answers that one.
Yeah, no, it does. It does. Yeah, awesome content there, Steph. One of the things I was saying to a builder the other day is that in 5 to 10 years, you might be building a house for someone who right now is 15.
Yeah.
And that's a scary thing. Like I grew up I'm 32, so I grew up when social media was just kicking off as I was coming into sort of my late teen adult years. So
Yeah.
I kind of understand that space of before as I was younger, and then as it grew into it. But people nowadays are using these tools all the time. And for professionals, LinkedIn is a massive, massive tool. So that's a really important one that people maybe aren't tapping into as much.
So undertapped. Yeah, totally.
Awesome. Well, look, I'll share my screen. So I'm just going to give you guys a quick run through on what Buildxact is, and then we're going to go into some of the points that Steph made about getting your leads in, and once they're in, how do you use a system like Buildxact to sort of convert those leads and win them and make sure they're the right leads for you as well. So let's just quickly share my screen. So hopefully you guys can all see this now. So this is kind of the situation that's helped Buildxact grow so much, is that currently and previously, a lot of builders are using non-purpose-built systems. So they're real standalone systems that don't really talk to each other, which then means that it's a lot more manual and it's a lot harder for you to get information across to your client. So scheduling, a lot of people use Excel for that. A quote normally is done in a Microsoft Word format, which means a lot of manual creation in there. Accounting software, again, doesn't necessarily always talk, especially if your file isn't online. Your takeoffs are probably done manually using a scale ruler and a pencil. And all the communication is done by email, phone, and text. Now, that all of it really doesn't talk very well, especially when you're interacting with a client. And that's kind of what I'm going to be talking to you first about here, is that how we actually improve that communication, strengthen the brand that you have with your client. And Steph touched on websites, social media, all that kind of stuff. For me, if I'm going to spend, if it's a renovation, I'm spending 20 grand, and I go onto someone's website and it's a very, very half-baked website, it's instantly going to turn me off. It's the same way with the communication. So let's just skip through here. So what is Buildxact? We cover everything from the first takeoff and the first time that you create a lead for a client, all the way through to that final invoice. So the quoting process, purchasing your materials, scheduling your work and sending notifications to your subbies or suppliers, and then obviously the financials, so managing your cash flow, and tracking your costs, and then syncing back into accounting software. So I'm going to quickly share my screen with you guys. So the first thing I really want to touch on is the customer portal. Now, if you've joined our webinars before, you might have seen this already, but I'm going to go into a little bit more detail for you this time. Now, the customer portal, how it sets us apart from how you would do it probably currently using a manual system, is that it streamlines all of your communication into here. So that first phone call that you get from a client, so you've gone through and had your website done up, the client's popped in all their details, you've got the lead for a client now. What's the next step? So obviously you pick up the phone and have a chat to them. You can invite them into the customer portal if you subscribe into Buildxact and you've got the Pro package. So as you can see, this is a test project that I've created. So you can see a nice little photo on it. I've got my branding in there. And if I click onto it, what it does is this actually runs from that first creation of the lead, winning the work, all the way through the process of building the build, and then the final invoice. So it creates a nice and easy system where a client can message you, you can message a client, they can log into it at any point in time. It means, especially if you've got multiple people in your business, you're not getting one email from someone in the admin team, one email from you, a text message, a phone call. Really, really hard to keep up to date with what's happening with that communication. So having this sort of system at the very, very beginning is really important. If someone's building a new house and they're going to spend, $100,000, $200,000, $250,000, I'm going to feel a lot better if I've got a system like this that I can communicate to my builder with, rather than calling them when they're on site and it just going straight to voicemail every single time. That doesn't set me up for success if I'm a builder. So how this works, as you can see here, we've got messages. Now, I've already sent a quote into here, so the client can actually see it and the client can actually respond. And if we go into Buildxact quickly, you can actually see this message will come straight through into here as well. So it operates as a really useful chat system that you can instantly get a reply to. We've also decided to add in photos. So this is really important. Once you've won the work and you're starting the build, being able to streamline and add in photos all into here. We've also got a section for quotes, which the quote will load up in here. Same thing for the plans. If we shared any plans, they'll all show up in here as well. And you can see this is actually branded to my colors as well. So I did this little logo online, so I've matched the colors onto there. So it's nice and easy for the client to go in and see anything. Documents, if I've uploaded any photos, as I touched on earlier. As we start to go through the job and we start to add in variations, they'll actually show up in here. Obviously, I haven't got any in there at the moment. And same thing for any invoices. As we're starting to build that work, they'll all show up in here. And then you've got some basic contact details, and you've got some previous pictures of your work. So that's really, really important. Now, bear in mind, if a client is going and they've got you that's got this sort of tool, and they've got another builder who doesn't have anything, that's going to set you apart. So that's something we do try and recommend to people, is figure out the areas that you can focus on that's going to set you apart from other builders. And, you know, Steph touched on the qualification of your leads coming in. You don't have to set this up for every single person that you have coming in. You can set up for maybe the ones that are really, really qualified. And that's kind of why people have sort of moved to charging for quotes now, because when you charge for quotes, you're more likely to get people that are really serious about working, rather than, you know, you're maybe spending 15, 20, 25 hours to get a quote out at the moment for someone that is never really going to be in that sort of buying stage. So how does this customer portal tie into the Buildxact software itself? So this is the client-facing view. So this is something you give access to your client. The Buildxact software is what you have as a builder. So we touched on the little messaging system just there. I've just got a couple of questions coming in. So I think, okay, no, there's no questions, so I'll just carry on. So the way it works, as you can see here, I've got a notification section for any conversation. So if a client emails me or messages me through the customer portal, it's all going to show up in here, so I can see nice and easy which ones I've read. Really, really useful if you've got multiple people in the business that are trying to get back to a client. So you can see exactly where everyone's at any point in time. So let's go through an actual estimate, and we can show how this customer portal actually works. So the way Buildxact works in the estimate is all about templates. So it's creating a template, something easy for you to replicate, and then you can share things as you need to. So you can see at the bottom here, I've already decided to share some of these photos. You literally would just click on the photo that you want, or the document, or whatever it is that you're planning on sharing, and hit share. And that will ask you, where do you actually want to share it to? So I'm going to share this framing photo to the documents, and then just hit share. Once that's done, that'll actually populate into the customer portal, and making it nice and simple for that client to access it. The client can also set how they want the notifications. So if you're going to be uploading, you know, 10, 15, 20 things a day, you don't want the client to get a notification, they can turn that off and just get one update every single day, and they can go in and see everything you've done. So nice and simple, the document layout there. So let's actually go through this and how we get a quote into the customer portal. So you can see I've already added the plans into Buildxact. We're going to do a couple of really simple takeoffs just to pad this data out. Now, we're not going to spend too much time on this, so I'm going to go through this quite quickly. But if you do want to see a full takeoff and a full demo and how it all works, just get in touch, book a demo, and we can go through that with you. So this is a brick supply and install recipe here. We just hit the takeoff tool, go into the elevation, we'll zoom in a touch, and we're just going to go point to point, just here. Just like that, and then back across. So that's 32.76 square meters. We'll draw a deduction for the windows. We'll just zoom in a bit more so I'll make sure I'm accurate there. There we go. So you can imagine how much this time is normally taken on a scale rather than a pencil. So 28.24 square meters, we hit accept and save. And then if we go into the recipe, we can see the quantity and the cost of each one of those line items. So really, really simple. And then we can decide if we want to add this to prime cost, provisional sum, etc. if we wanted to. So we'll just hit save. Once you've gone through and you've completed your takeoffs, obviously we're not going to do the whole thing here, but we've got about a 10K total there. We can then decide to go through our specifications. This is where you add in pictures in there. So what this does, it actually sets your quote apart, sets the professionalism apart as well. You add these pictures in once, you don't need to go in and do it every single time. So you add these in, you set a template, and you've got those in there as soon as you need to. You just click this settings button here, and you can change based on the specification list that you want to show. Now, when it comes to sending this quote letter, you already saw before that I had a quote uploaded into here. And you can see I've uploaded a file in by mistake here as well, but When we go to the quote letter, we've got the quote body, the T's and C's, and the print options. So how do I want this quote to actually look for that client? So let's go through that. If I wanted to share it directly in the custom portal, I would just hit share, share it into the quotes, and just hit share at the bottom. There we go. And if we go back into the custom portal now, there's that framing picture that I uploaded earlier on, and there's the quote coming through now. It's just taking about 10 seconds or so to load. Now, how does this actually look from a Buildxact perspective? So let's just print this and actually show you. Obviously, at this point, you could share it to the custom portal, or you could email it directly to the client, but I'm just going to print it just to show you how it actually looks. So nice and professional. Now, this is taking me almost no time to get up and running, and that's something that's really, really important. That a lot of builders find that to get a really professional looking quote with your images and everything in there, it takes a very, very long time to do, and that adds a considerable amount of time to get back to the client, which then affects the likelihood that you're going to win it if you're taking too long to get back to a client. So let's just scroll down. Here's a specification. So I mentioned the images. Again, you don't have to upload those every single time. You just create a template, and you've got your little signatures, initials at the bottom. I didn't add pictures in for everything, but you can see I could if I wanted to. There's your quote categories. You don't need to show this. You can just leave this blank, or you can go as detailed as you like. And there we've got the total. So one thing I really want you guys to take from this is that the professionalism side of it, that's really, really super important when people are going to be spending that amount of money. For me, as I mentioned, if people don't have that, it's an instant turn off, and it's something that maybe would sway me going to someone else. But you don't need to spend hours and hours and hours and hours to get this up to what that needs to be. You know, Buildxact helps you with that quoting. It's pre-formatted, and if a client messages you back in the customer portal and says, hey, I want to change something, very, very easy. You just go back in here and make the change. There's none of that whole drawing up the whole Word document, making sure your markup is still in line, and checking everything is correct. It does it all for you. So that's a massive bonus. Now, as you saw with the customer portal, it all feeds back into here. I won't go through the whole job management section of the software, but as you win the job, you can go in and actually manage your schedules, push all your variations in the customer portal as well. And we're still in the early stages of this customer portal, so there's going to be a heap of development going into it over the next year or so. So do keep an eye on what happens. There's a number of Buildxact subscribers on there. If you aren't using it, and you can, I would recommend to hop in and have a look, because it will set you apart from the competition. Cool. Well, guys, that's a really, really quick run through on some of the key features that I wanted to go through. As sort of Steph touched on before, this is all about strengthening your brand, strengthening your marketing, and it's all well and good to invest all that money in, but if you haven't got a system in place that once you get those in there, it's not going to make any difference for you and your business. So how can I get my quoting time down? That's going to improve the likelihood that a client's going to choose me. And then when I do get that quote to them, how do I make sure that it's of the highest quality that I can get it to? We can help you with that. Buildxact, we offer free training in the system. So that's in broken down to 5 webinars. And then you also get the one-on-one training as well. Me personally, I still haven't had any training on the system, and I can do a full demo. I can use the system. I don't come from a building or trade background at all. It's a really, really simple system to use. There's no upfront cost. You don't have to pay 2-3 grand and then 2 months to learn it. You subscribe. If you want to go annual, you get locked in for 12 months, but you get a discount on that. The monthly is no lock-in contract, and then you get the training. And if it's not right for you, you can always cancel. But we've got a very, very low cancellation rate, because often when people sign up, they find that it helps to get the quotes out quicker, they win more work, and ultimately, improves their business. So that's all from me. I'll just get Steph to jump on again, and we can maybe start with the questions if anyone has any. Just stop sharing, or I'll just open this PowerPoint slide so you guys can see our details here. Got one here. How do I get pricing into Buildxact so that I can put together an estimate? So it's a really simple Excel upload from your suppliers. You get that in an Excel sheet, you upload it into Buildxact. Doesn't take long at all. You just assign the categories to how that would lay out in your price list, and it will be up and running that way. But yeah, it only takes a few minutes to get up and running. So will we be getting a copy of those bonus URLs? That one's for you, Steph.
Yeah, totally, totally. I can forward you and Marina the URLs. I mean, I can actually give you guys the presentation link, and then you can watch it all in your own time.
Yeah, we've recorded this, so you might have seen the little recording icon. So we are recording it, so you guys can hop back in and view it. Anything you might have missed, especially if you're a bit late in joining. I saw a few people hop in sort of 10 minutes in or so. So yeah, definitely go back in and watch it if there's anything that you want to go through again. There's one here from Debbie. How do I upload existing supplier contact details? So inside, I might just hop the screen back into the system. So inside Buildxact, you've got the ability to select your clients or your contacts. The contacts is where your suppliers and subbies go to. And effectively, it's just entering in these just like that. So you've got all the details that you would need to enter in. From there, cancel. From there, this is where your catalogs would show up when it loads in, and this is where you upload all your pricing coming into here. So these are some of the recipes that I've got, and here's some of the prices that we've got in here as well. So this is one from one of our partners. We've got a few partners that actually provide price lists into Buildxact, which is really useful when you partner up with them. We turn the pricing on, and they manage the price list for you, and it all feeds into Buildxact. Steph, I've got one here. Probably a question that I've seen quite a bit actually as well.
Yeah.
Where do people start? Is it website, social media, AdWords?
Okay, so the first thing you want to really start with is your website. I mean, that's the foundation for everything that you're going to do. You know, if you're doing social media work, well, then you want to push those people back to your website, to a form, to fill it out, to then go through the whole sales process. So the website's really the first start. I would actually say, like, the next thing that you should get off your list is processes and how you're actually going to convert these leads. And Buildxact, I mean, that's a perfect tool to start having those conversations with customers and getting that whole back office nice and clean. So yeah, first thing is foundation, get your website sorted, get the content up there, and then tackle that next, very next thing. Awesome.
One of the things that I think we spoke about, Steph, maybe a few weeks ago is when I've tried to find builders' websites online sometimes just to kind of get a bit of information before I speak to them, and I see one of those Facebook websites. Yeah, one of those really, really irritate me. So I know that if I'm a client and I go and find someone's website and it directs me to a Facebook link website, yeah.
I mean, it's like you say, you know, people are they're not spending 10 grand here. They're spending 100, 150, like they're spending good money on some construction here. So the last thing you want to show them is like some free Facebook page that shows not enough information. It just shows that maybe you're not the builder for them, you know, if you don't have all these back office stuff set up. Like you said before, you know, if someone's got to call you to get an update and you just got a voicemail, you're leaving voicemails every week, doesn't really instill trust in the process. So yeah, you definitely don't want a Facebook page for your website.
Yeah. I always kind of touch on, if someone's willing to spend, you know, 50 grand, 100 grand, 150 grand, 200 grand plus, like your brand online needs to reflect that. Like it's not, you're not hopping to a shop and spending, you know, $10.99 on something. So
no.
Your brand really needs to reflect that online.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going hiking, you don't go to, I don't know, the reject shop and get some socks. You go to Kathmandu because you want your socks to last.
Exactly. Yeah. Although when I first got to Australia, I think I did buy socks in the reject shop. And I was doing landscaping, and I was the worst landscaper ever on the planet, I think, by the time I was finished. Kurt, how do you start a customer portal? So Kurt, if you're using the job management component of the software, you'll get access to the customer portal. So it all starts from a lead perspective. So what you do when you start creating a lead, which you can see, this is the one that I did earlier on. I only did this yesterday. So when you start this lead process and you're starting to go through, you'll get this little bit at the bottom here that allows you to create the customer portal. From there, you invite the client into it. They just go in and set up a user email address and password, and then they can log in. And basically from there, anything you share to that customer through the customer portal will show up in their portal. The one thing I would recommend looking at when you do start though, is if I go into my profile, oh, sorry, my business even. Let me just click out of this. Business account, there we go. I'm not sure why PowerPoint's there, it's gone now. So when you start, the one thing I would recommend your customer portal is invite yourself into it and just check to see how it looks. So create yourself a dummy test, just get familiar with how the client views things. This is where obviously you put your logos in, any previous work pictures that you want. So you're allowed up to 6 in there. Obviously I've only got 3. Then your primary colors. Just check that because sometimes you see some very, very horrible color selections. So just make sure they fit with your brand and it looks appealing to the customer on their side. When I first started, I did the red the other way around and it wasn't a great look. So really good for a primary color to be something quite subtle. The question on the job side of Buildxact, can I run my jobs end to end? Yes, you can. So Buildxact covers everything from that first lead creation. So when you put in that lead, that first call, so as Steph said, you've got that lead in, you might not be getting those, you might not be ready in the stage to quote at the moment, rather than using something like Excel to manage that or Word or whatever you're using, pop them into here, keep track of them, you know what their budget is. You can then set about what stage they're in, how often you should be reaching out. And then when you eventually quote and you win the job, yeah, schedules, purchase orders, estimate versus actual spend, so knowing your financials of your business, where you're going over, under budget, we manage that as well. Your invoicing, variations, and syncing into your accounting software. And no limit on the customer portal. There's a question there as well. Steph, you mentioned Instagram was the most used or one that you'd recommend looking at the most. What is customers Instagram stories?
It's Instagram stories. So that's a way to post. One of the features inside Instagram, it's one of the ways to post so that your content comes up in like a 24-hour time limit. And if someone's like just kind of cruising around, they can see all the people that have got an Instagram story. What it does is if you only post on the tiles, like on just the posts, then people have to scroll through the news feed to see your content. Whereas if you're actually using the Instagram stories feature as well, your content will also be up the very top. So you just want to have one every 24 hours. Don't go crazy with like 10 or 15 Instagram story, because then someone's got to click through like 15 stories every 12 hours. So yeah, just another really good feature on Instagram to use.
Yeah, and that's something that young people are really, really getting behind at the moment.
I mean, I haven't seen the data of what the age is there, but like, I mean, for construction, people are using Instagram to start looking for photos of homes that they aspire to have. And if you've got really awesome photos, then they're going to find you and start connecting with you and, you know, almost, you know, saving those photos. So like, it's such a good tool. Yeah, I can't recommend it enough.
Yeah, and it's all about acting now rather than acting when everyone's already doing it, everyone's already built a presence, and you're starting from a point where, you know, there might be 20 builders around your area that are already doing this, already further ahead of you in the game, and are already building relationships with clients and already building word of mouth referrals through social media already.
You want to use today's tools for today's business. You don't want to wait a year and see if it's going to burn out. If it's here and people are on it and you've heard people talk about it, then you need to start investigating and playing in that platform, because you'd hate to like skip it this entire year. And then in 2 years' time, it's like the dominating tool and, you know, you're only just catching up. So yeah, play in today's market.
Yeah. Jonathan, you mentioned who are the partners who feed prices into Buildxact and how can I access them? So there's a few of them. Got a group called RBN, Registered Builders Network. There's ABN, Australian Builders Network, Trade Alliance Group. There's a few there, so maybe we can take that offline. I can reach out to you, because depending on your state will depend on which one you have access to. There's a question about the limit on the customer portal. So no, there's no limit on the number of people you can invite into the customer portal. Steph, is Instagram, for Instagram, is video better than pictures or the other way around?
I mean, video is just better than pictures, full stop. I mean, it tells the story so much faster, especially if you're on video, going for like, hey, I just got to the job site, check out, I'm walking through the fence and here's, first floor and rah, rah, rah. Like, obviously a video tells the story much better than a static photo. So if you can do video, obviously awesome, but otherwise photos, I mean, just start. Like if you just start with photos, there's nothing wrong with that.
Kurt, can they print from the portal? My concern is a customer could take my plans to another builder to quote. Yeah, I mean, they can't print directly from the custom portal, but they can download and then print. But that they can probably do that anyway at the moment, I guess. Anything you do share with the client, they can print right now, right? Because it's probably going to be in your email. So then you don't want to share, you just don't have to share it. There's nothing that you physically have to share in that customer portal. So you could just use it for the quotes and for photos and for selection updates, all that kind of stuff. You don't necessarily need to use it for plans if that is going to be a concern for you. So I've got one about the videos in Instagram. So how professional do they need to be? I think that's probably referring to, do I need to get a full videographer to do a video? And
define professional, right? Professional might be the fact that you're dressed and ready to go to work and you've just thrown up your iPhone and you're literally talking to your iPhone and hitting record and making an Instagram story. I mean, as long as you're looking professional and speaking and maybe not swearing, if that's not part of your brand, then perfect, that's professional. I wouldn't be stuck on paying someone $5,000 every time I want to produce a video of a home. You could pay a photographer to come out and do a aerial view and an inside view and make a video of a finished project. And then you could use that video inside social media, cut up into 30 seconds and then used across your platform for the next quarter. That would be a great way. But really, people are buying and want to get to know you as the owner of the business. They want to see your trades. So again, if you've been sharing content about your trades on site then when you and your trades turn up to their job, they're going to feel really comfortable because they already kind of know you. Define professional. Let's break that. Let's break that barrier of having to make sure we've got this big, professional, $1,000 camera. The phones are so good these days, and you can literally just sort of sit here and get on camera. So yeah, the more video and content you can create, the better that your brand will start to have a narrative going on.
Another one from Kurt here. I've been told people want to see the end product, not so much the building process. What's your thoughts on that, Steph?
No, I think show them the whole thing. I mean, customers are all different and then they're going to want to see different sorts of stuff. I think a very clear, like time lapse, like before and after and progress and how this thing is working, then yeah, definitely that's got some weight to it. Obviously that beautiful after photo of the marble kitchen or Caesar stone or whatever it's going to be and all the bits and bobs, like even if you're showing right down to like the way the drawers, like, they move in and out and the beautiful, I don't know, niches that you've built into the walls inside the home, like that's, all that detail can go into video. I would honestly show any process that you can. The more the better, honestly. Yeah,
and I've got a friend at the moment who's just had a second house built. And if you join these webinars before, I've mentioned her a few times because someone I know really closely that's gone through the second stage now. And I know for her, she is constantly going down and looking at that house. So constantly wants to see updates. And if you've got someone that maybe doesn't live close by, keeping access and seeing that as it's being built is really important. If you're sharing that on social media, then you get the ability for people to tag people in stories and reshare it and all that kind of stuff. And that just further and further pushes your brand out there to more and more people. doesn't look like we've got any more questions coming in at the moment. I was on about progress pictures here into the so you upload progress pictures into the custom portal same way as you would any other photos or documents. I don't think I've missed any. It's hard sometimes because everyone starts posting and it
Lose it.
yeah, because you guys probably wouldn't see them all because some people don't put the to everyone. So I just want to make sure before I sign off on this. Jonathan, thanks for joining, Jonathan. Yeah, looks like that's it, guys. Look, really appreciate everyone staying on, and obviously for Steph joining. She's the expert in this side of it. I can only give my own sort of opinion, but yeah, there's the expert right there. Guys, I'll put the PowerPoint slide up here just so you can see the information. So if you haven't had a trial with Buildxact, obviously head to our website. Or you can do that just to extend the trial or book a one-on-one demo. So the demos normally go for about 45 minutes to an hour, depending on the number of questions you have. But it's a one-on-one session. It'll give you a really good indication of if it's going to be a good fit for you. And then you've got Steph's details. I'll just let Steph close out from her side.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for being active and listening. I love all the questions. Of course, if you want to have a chat, then more than welcome to book a game plan chat with me, and there's a link down there. I think you guys have got a replay, a recording coming up, so all those like freebies that I shared, I mean, that you'll get them in the recording. I mean, if you jump on Instagram, I literally live in there and you can ask me anything day and night. So maybe not day and night, but yeah, I'm here to help. Like if you've got something that's sort of bugging you, then flick it to me and I can take a look. So
yeah, awesome. And yeah, if anything for the content that you've seen today, guys, really make sure that your website and your social media is performing. It's something that is really important to me as a client, and if I was looking for someone, the website is super important, as well as reviews, especially for such a big purchase that people are going to make. But as always, yeah, reach out to Steph, myself, if you have any questions. Really appreciate you joining, giving up your time, and we've overrun a tiny bit, so I appreciate for those who could stayed on. Awesome.
Cool.
Thanks for your time, guys. Thanks, Steph.
No worries. Thanks, guys.
See ya.